have a funny look on your face right now.
Because the camera looks way off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all looking at me.
Yeah, I think I'm good with that.
Hello there, people on
I like your
YouTube.
shirt. That should be enough to get
Thank
people to
you.
go and watch the YouTube.
Sub-Atlantic is the band, local band, friends of mine, friends
right.
of yours too. All right. Well, hello, and my dyslexic turning the knob the wrong way every time. Welcome to the Moon Underwater. I'm Kelly Daniels.
And I am Steve Jones.
So what's our hook today? That's our new thing. I'm going to give you a shot at it. I haven't come up with one yet, but how are we going to entice the listener into and tease them about what's to come?
Hard for me to say because I was sort of indifferent.
Indifferent.
Yeah, to what we read.
Even the shooting of the elephant, it takes him like half an hour to die, and he's...
Yeah.
It,
Wait, is that the hook?
I don't know. I guess
It might be.
Yeah.
We're shooting an elephant today.
Yeah.
Not we.
Or no, it's a. The first essay is about a cute dog. That's the hook. So
It is about a cute dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should talk about that one second.
Okay. Sure.
No, that's the one I read first. So I sort of want to do it in that order. All right.
All right, let's do it. So today we're going to talk about a couple of George Orwell essays, probably his two most famous essays.
Really?
They're probably the most widely read. Besides, there's one called Politics in the English Language that's spoken about a lot.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and rather than me summarizing it, maybe we could talk about it sometime. But it does talk about how he really disliked propaganda or the party line and how people turned their brains off and started just spouting slogans. And Politics in the English Language is in some ways about that. I will say one thing about it. It has a practical advice that I have taken on personally, and that is it comes in handy a lot in social media these days. And what it is that when you hear a piece of I guess you could call it propaganda or something that you really agree with, that is your tribe speaking.
Yeah.
Before you repeat it, even to yourself, put it in your own words. Don't repeat it verbatim. Because when you get in the habit of verbatim repeating slogans, you turn your brain off, and pretty soon you stop even wondering whether they're true or not.
Right.
You automatically just start spreading this stuff. And essentially that's political memes. I mean, and it is pretty interesting in that people on the left that I know are incredible critical thinkers when it comes to memes that come from the right. They just see every single logical flaw.
Yeah.
And yet the ones that come from the left, they miss like professors who teach logic will pass on things
don't need to notice
huge logical fallacies.
I chose to ignore all of them.
You
largely.
do, yeah.
I don't love...
You're not really a social media guy, I think, is part of it.
This has gotten me back onto Facebook.
Yeah. So you're actually spending time on Facebook?
An hour a week, maybe?
Yeah.
Which is a lot. And I used to be a lot more than that. And I was like, I'm kind of giving up on this. But incidentally, that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about a story with a cute dog.
Yeah.
So
there are two. One of the reasons I chose these is because our last episode took place partly in India. You just got back from India. And so Orwell was a military police in Imperial British India.
So what does that mean, to be military police under the British Raj?
I'm not 100% sure, but it seems as though he was the cop.
I think so.
I
think that's what it is, right?
Like,
Like that it's military police, but we're really running the show here.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like we think of military police here where they're policing
the other military. Yeah. No, he was the local cop. He took the place of whatever kind of local policing they had, if any. And he had to enforce the program.
Yeah.
And he's pretty clear in the second of the two essays that he didn't feel very comfortable about that role.
So let's go with the first one, then a hanging.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
And it dawned on me at the end of the first page that because I copy and pasted, who's our narrator?
Yeah.
Like,
it's George Orwell.
It is, but in what capacity? It wasn't. It didn't jump out at me. Maybe I didn't read clearly enough, and then I didn't go back on the one page of like a 3-page story.
He said that the rest of us, magistrates and et cetera, followed behind.
Look at you.
He's there. I mean, I've read this many times and I've taught it in like essay writing classes and stuff. And
something just jumped out at me.
He's just there, but he's not a player. He's just like one of the various British officials
sort of
who's there to kind of watch.
Yeah.
And it's just very routine.
They're in Burma.
Almost all of this essay, which I really like about it, it makes almost very little kind of like theorizing or proselytizing or anything. It's just, this is what happened.
This is what happened. And that's what I was sort of indifferent about.
You wanted to be told how to think about it a little more?
I wanted to know what he felt or thought about it, rather than it was, and well, maybe I do now that I'm saying this out loud. It was just another day. It was just business.
That was
Which
part
is something,
of it.
by the way, that I fucking hate. I have been told that before. Hey, what are you getting all upset about? It's just business.
Yeah,
I fucking hate that.
Yeah, it doesn't excuse it.
It does not, and it's like working with friends, and you get burned on something. Oh, well, you know what?
John Cougar Mellencamp, you ready for this?
I'm totally
calling
ready.
it your job, old hoss. Sure don't make it right.
Yeah,
that's like the guy that comes and takes the farm away. That's that.
Yeah,
that farm song. And yeah, like if your job is immoral, you know, especially if you aren't going to starve by quitting it, you don't have to do it. Like,
true.
You know,
but it's also, you know, how people get put in the machine, right?
Oh,
like
yeah,
you're part of the.
He's a minor official in this whole big project, and it just so happens that every now and then his job is watching some guy get hung.
So I'm gonna say maybe I felt indifferent because it seems sort of like he feels indifferent, like as to the things
I
that are
think you
going
need to
on.
read a little more carefully,
because
he definitely describes. He has some editorial commentary about this process, but the story itself, I believe, is it's like a short story. A short story should never tell you how to think about what's going on.
Okay.
There's the whole show don't tell cliche in writing, and this is actually a masterful version of that. And maybe one quick read doesn't give some readers enough, but I do think there's a reason why.
One better.
I do think there's a reason why this is. It's in every anthology for personal essays. It just really, it's lasted, and it's still being read quite a lot.
Well, so
and I can point out the points where we get the information and not just the story. So anyway, let's go ahead and start just summarizing it and going through it.
I actually wanted to read the first paragraph or parts of it.
Yeah, do it.
It was in Burma, a sodden morning of the rains. A sticky light, like yellow tinfoil, was slanting over the high walls into the jail yard. We were waiting outside the condemned cells, a row of sheds fronted with double bars, like small animal cages.
Yeah.
So like, the part that got me, I was like yellow tinfoil.
Yeah, that's an amazing.
It's a great.
Yeah, me too. I saw that exact because I've never the hundreds, if not thousands, of times I've read descriptions of sunlight.
Yeah,
that's the only time in my life I've read that particular one, and it seemed right.
Yeah,
it's weak and kind of there's something kind of cheap about it almost.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great. So it's just a real visual, and then we get to see the cells, which are just cages.
Well, and so that's going to come in handy later. The line, like small animal cages.
Yeah, they're like, and they take the one guy out who's condemned.
Yeah,
and they're about to kill him, and then he
He has a ridiculous mustache.
He's really skinny, like puny skinny, but he's got this giant mustache.
Yep.
And like a comic old time movie or something, just his appearance doesn't fit very well for the solemnity of the, and nothing does.
No.
Nothing about the whole thing
fits
how important, how heavy it is to take someone else's life in an official act.
And they're trying to hurry it up, right? They're going, all right, come on. He needs to be dead by now.
The commander is yelling at his subordinate who's an Indian, and a lot of these people are kind of Indian servant types almost. Yeah. And then there are the British themselves who are kind of more in control of it. And the guy's like, I can't feed the prisoners until we finish this. Let's get it on going. And so they're trying to hurry it up. It's just business, like you said. And
that's the part that bugs
Orwell
me,
is just kind of watching.
Yeah.
And here's the part. I don't know if I'm going to go and try to find it in the book, but because then I have to put my glasses on.
Oh, man.
And I don't look as cute when I put my readers on. And
we
are
on
watching
the video.
Yeah.
And it's pointed basically right at you.
That is strange that you did that.
It's weird. It's like I'm in charge of the video.
It was just some kind of an attraction. You just couldn't help it.
I told you that I was kind of not feeling it today, and I was wondering if I could.
I just came from the gym, and
you're glowing.
I bet just my...
Yeah. You look at your bicep.
My
first.
biceps are a little pumped right now. You
nice.
know, if you look carefully, you could probably see some veins.
Whoa.
That's
what happens.
I'm just
kind of
describing that so that people that are just all on audio can.
Yeah, they're really missing out.
They could get a sense of it.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So what were you going to try to find with your glasses?
The part where I don't know if I'm going to describe this part first, whether it comes before or after the dog. The dog is the key to the whole thing.
It is.
But
I'm glad I caught that.
The guy is walking, and they strap his arms to his side, and there's a whole bunch of guys holding him, like he's going to escape.
It didn't really seem like he was terribly
the guy's completely zoned out.
Yeah.
He's just like a zombie almost.
Yep.
He's already kind of like accepted he's going to die maybe. He's in shock, whatever. And he's walking, and Orwell just notices how well his body moves, even though he's kind of like clumsy because he's bound, but his legs are just kind of like, he's got this kind of bouncing gait that the Indians have. And then he comes upon a puddle, and he doesn't want to step on the puddle, so he makes a little move to the side.
Yeah.
And it's at that point where Orwell gives a short little speech about, he'd never really thought about it before, but how deeply fucked up it is to just kill a perfectly functioning human. Like how well his body is doing everything it needs to do. It's his bowels are digesting, his fingernails are growing. His body doesn't know that it's all about to end.
It is curious, but till that moment I had never realized what it means to destroy a healthy, conscious man.
Yeah. And he's just like, he's not saying, hey, I'm going to give you 5 points why capital punishment is a bad idea.
Right.
It's more, I'm just watching this guy, and I thought, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
And it reminded me, I'm going to break out a little quotation here.
Oh, boy.
A little quotation from Walt Whitman, and he has this famous poem called I Sing the Body Electric. It's a longish poem that's all about the human body, and it's kind of a horny poem, and because it's a lot of like,
right up our alley.
Like when a body touches my body, it is more than I can stand or something. But he just talks about body, and there's this one line that really caught me.
Yeah.
And I wrote it down. Here it is.
You got your glasses on.
I do. Not looking hot. So I need to get some more like hot professor glasses.
I'm going to make a note for
probably
our next
need
meeting.
to get bigger like frames or something.
Yeah.
So like when I take them off, I'm Superman, but I put them on and I'm just like
a good idea.
Good-looking business guy.
I have to see what Walgreens has.
Yeah. The narrowest hinge in my hand puts to scorn all machinery. That's Walt Whitman. And I love that it's this long list of all the parts of the body.
Yeah.
And then the narrowest hinge of my hand. It's like the the least interesting part of my body puts to scorn all machinery. Think of every piece of machine that has some kind of a hinge.
Yeah.
And then compare it to...
You already know what kind of machine I'm thinking of.
A human knuckle, you know?
Yeah.
What machine are you thinking
Any
of?
car.
Yeah. And it's such a crude...
Yeah.
Our attempts to make things are so crude compared to our own bodies. And anyway, Whitman was good at noticing things like that. So I think that's really the first realization we have, that Orwell's not really... The reason why he's writing this essay is because he's not really on board with the whole hanging people thing. And he doesn't get into the politics of it. He doesn't get into the idea that, well, these people are... Nobody knows what the guy's crime is.
Yeah, no.
I
mean,
mean,
they don't tell us.
And he could be a mass murderer, although you don't feel like he probably is.
No.
But anyway, that's the first part. And then the dog shows up. And do you want to talk about the dog, or do you want to?
I want to back up, because there was the couple things of the yellow tinfoil, the absolutely then later 8 o'clock struck and a bugle call, desolately thin in the wet air.
Nice.
And you ever seen Throw Mama from the Train?
I have. I love that movie.
We might need to do that.
We
on
should.
This show,
I haven't seen it in so long.
There's a line from that, and it's what he's writing, and it is, "The night was humid," and it made me think of the relatively simple things that are here, and that I forget, it's Billy Crystal's character, and I forget what but he's wrestling with what the first line of the novel is.
Oh yeah, and it's always the night was this, the night was that.
Right. The night was humid is what he had.
Yeah.
And then, or the night was damp, and so anyway, some of these
I
things
think
made
the
me
mama
think of it.
character pushes him off the train at one point, and she says, "The night was sultry, you son of a bitch."
The night was sultry. That's exactly what she says.
Really?
Yeah,
I remember that from 20 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great movie.
You don't have a cousin Patty.
Yeah.
Hits him on the face with the frying pan. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Danny DeVito hits him on the face with the frying. You lied to me.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
But I was sort of having a bit of a chuckle reading about The Condemned Man. I didn't feel guilty at all. Still don't.
About chuckling because of the...
Because the Throw Mom from the Train, because it's amazing film. That's a film.
Film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so the dog. Let's talk about the dog.
What happens is this is just a routine kind of we're just going to...
Routine hanging.
We're going to bring this guy from his cell to the gallows and drop him from the gallows and kill him, and...
Breakfast time.
Then it's time... Yeah, then we get to serve breakfast, and it's all over, and that's
not
just...
the prisoner.
Part of that... No, he will not get breakfast.
No, he would not be breakfast.
No, that would be really a different kind of story. The British Empire... You could say some things about it, but I don't think cannibalism was part of it.
I haven't done my research there, so...
I haven't either. I'm just guessing. But but then this dog just comes from out of nowhere and just runs around and starts trying to play with everybody.
The line is, "A dreadful thing had happened."
Yeah.
A dog, goodness knows whence, had appeared in the yard.
Yeah.
This sounds...
And it's jumping around, and then it jumps up and tries to lick the face of the prisoner.
Condemned man.
And then everybody's like, "Go get that goddamn thing!" And they're all running after it, and it thinks it's part of the game, and it's running around, and they can't catch it.
Who let that bloody brute in here?
And they describe it. He describes the prisoner and the dog. The dog is like a curly-haired, part Airedale and part
pariah,
like mutt. And finally they catch it, and they use Orwell's handkerchief to kind of as a leash.
Yeah.
So he is there. He's a person there, Orwell is, but he's just not. He's just watching. He's not doing anything. And they finally get the dog, and it's kind of whimpering, and it still wants to play. It doesn't understand why it's being restrained.
Right.
And then the dog kind of disappears for a bit, and they lead the guy up to the gallows, and then they kind of push him up the steps or the...
They lead/push.
Yeah, and then he's up there, and they put the noose around his neck, and then he starts calling out the name of his
Ram.
god. Ram, 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 Ram.
Yeah.
And he's just doing that over and over, not like pleading for forgiveness or savior. It's just like chanting.
Yep.
And it goes on for like a long time. It says minutes.
It went on for minutes, yeah, and that he wasn't sure if they had a specific set number they were going to let him get to before they went ahead and dropped him.
Yeah. Or it was either a time or he was counting how many, like 50, 100.
Mm-hmm.
But finally the superintendent just goes, all right.
That's it.
Do it.
Yep.
And they pull the thing. The guy falls down. And then they let the dog go.
Right.
And then the rope is just there. It's taut.
Yeah, they can't see.
They can't see him because he falls behind, like.
Right.
And then the dog runs behind the gallows and then starts like whining and then runs away.
Yep.
And then hides in a corner, kind of looking at the people, like
appalled.
He's scared, like timorously or something like that. Like, it's like, what the fuck is up with these people?
Yeah.
They just killed that guy. And it was pretty wild. I mean, that this dog had this moral sense, this moral intuition almost, that the humans in charge don't seem to have, if that makes sense.
It does.
And that may be putting too much on the dog. It just didn't like what it saw.
No.
It thought, okay, I thought this was fun, and it is not.
Turns out it's not.
Not at all.
Yeah.
This is not a cool scene, and...
I'm actually going to go in a totally different direction here.
All right, let's do it.
So
we should have change of direction music.
We should.
Yeah, when we.
Yeah, we don't have any now, so we can.
No,
I can't even come up with a riff in my head to do it. But so,
what is this?
What
was that?
That's our bell ding.
Okay.
That's a different bell ding. Than actual bells. That's the applause. We can get rid of that one.
No, I like it. Thank you. Very much.
It's the only time we're going to get any. So it's good.
That's true.
So where was I going with this? Come on, brain.
While you're thinking, I'm going to admire
I
these wings. I wonder if they're crispy. We should talk about wings at some point.
We should.
I'm a wing guy.
Oh.
And I'm really, really, really deeply disappointed with all the wings in the Quad City area.
Because they're not crispy?
None of them are crispy. I've never had a crispy. Only, and don't give me any of this fucking breaded fucking
No, that doesn't
wing
count.
bullshit.
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
For me, the Vine. And the
Vine was great.
And so that
we
was
had to
like
drive
my
an
jam.
hour.
Yeah, it's
To
worth
drive
it.
an hour? Oh, yeah, it was worth it.
Yeah.
But
I wonder, those look kind of crispy.
They did look it. We're going to give it a try
All right.
sometime.
Okay, I remembered what I was going to say. Oh, how old were you when you learned that death by hanging was not by asphyxiation? Like,
I still don't quite
breaking
understand
the neck.
it. Yeah, I don't know how old I was, but I still don't. They said, oh, it's more merciful. It feels like breaking my neck is not merciful.
No.
Seems horrible.
Yeah.
And when people hang themselves, which they do to commit suicide quite a lot, I would think that they are trying to get out of it in a painless way.
Right.
And so why would they choose that if...
And neck break is not great. And then the alternative is now you're basically not able to breathe for, a minute and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what they were...
Yeah, he's having to pull...
They were pretty excited that they didn't have to go in and have people pull on the guy's legs.
He died instantly, and his toes were pointing straight down.
I guess that's good.
It was a detail.
It was.
That made it seem like, he was really there. He really saw it.
They poked him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, all right.
And the commander or the superintendent said, well, he's all right.
That was a comment that I had coming up. He's all right? No, he's dead.
Well, when you're dead, there's no more pain, there's no more suffering, there's no more problems. It's over.
No more animal cages. That was the dog was the animal cage, by the way, and that's what That's what the dog was for me. Is that
Yeah.
they're in cages that the dog
Isn't in a
presumably
cage.
wouldn't,
Yeah.
would be, but isn't, and is loving life.
Yeah.
It's like out there happy, bouncing around, and then they just kill this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So, I heard somebody told me that when they hung Saddam Hussein,
Yeah.
they purposely let him drop farther so his head would pop off. Like,
Oh, did it pop off?
I don't know. Somebody told me that. I didn't
A
I didn't fact check this
story
whole
like
thing.
that's got to be true. So we're gonna go with yes. Yep.
It's
Leave no doubts. Pop
Sure.
his head off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of grim. Kind of funny too.
Kinda. Yeah.
Kind of funny.
Wow.
Well, they start laughing immediately after
They do.
the
And
guy
everybody-
is dead.
It sort of lightens. Like the mood is
Oh.
already kind of light, and it gets lighter.
Everybody's pretty chill.
Yeah.
And then,
Several people laughed at what? Nobody seemed certain.
they laugh nervously. You laugh, but it's all of a sudden the stress of we're having to kill this guy. Now it's over. And then they laugh, and the one guy's like, "Oh, sir, it is not always like this. Sometimes it is most disagreeable. They don't die, and then the doctor has to pull on their legs, and or when they are recalcitrant."
Well, sir, all has passed with the utmost satisfactoriness.
Yeah, that's the Dravidian.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means?
No.
Dravidian.
One of the words I have underlined.
Dravidian was also in the Paul Bowles. One of those Paul Bowles stories, I think, had a Dravidian in it.
Then I definitely looked it up, and I thought I remembered it.
Or maybe that.
No, it was the. It's in the next story. There's another one. There's a word they used.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it's some kind of maybe an ethnic thing or a racial thing or something. Look at that. That is gorgeous.
Oh.
So those of us not watching the video, there's a barge coming through, and it's got a big spotlight, and it's doing a moon under the water, underwater on the Mississippi.
I wonder how well that's going to show up since the camera's pointed directly at you.
It should be. I'm the moon.
It's true.
And, yeah.
All right.
Moon face. But,
so
but then they start laughing, and the guy's like, oh, and then they start laughing at all the
and then
different people that it's been kind of like, oh, the guy says, it's worse when they're recalcitrant. One man, clung to the bars. And I said, my good man, don't you realize how much of a trouble you are creating for the rest of us?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's laughing, and finally the superintendent goes, hey, okay, everybody, let's go and let's have a drink.
Yeah. Said, I've got a bottle of whiskey in the car.
Yeah.
We could do with it.
So we have perfect sort of ebony and ivory diversity moment at the very end.
Yeah.
Everybody goes to the
together.
car, and they're drinking together, and they're all feeling like they're all one. Like brown and white, British and Indian, all.
Yeah.
We're all kind of one. And then the last line is, the dead man was 100 yards away.
Right. It is.
And I believe that the laughter and the sense of camaraderie it brings us together killing somebody else. And they're all part of the same thing, and whether it's guilty or... but they're all sharing in it.
Yes.
And they've all done it. They all had some part in it. And now they're kind of giddy. They're sort of nervously laughing, but they also feel closer to one another.
Yes.
And the guy is 100 yards away. The dead man is 100 yards away. And I feel like death is near, but not that near in a way. He's...
sort of out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, the dead guy is not at the car drinking.
He's not.
But he's also
the drinking with them.
But he's also not that far away, and that's where the kind of nervousness. And I don't know. I feel like the ending just sort of landed right for me in terms of that. What the whole thing is about is we all conspired to kill this guy. We did it, and it was kind of messed up and weird and awkward and nerve-wracking. And at the end, we all felt a little closer to each other. And it kind of like, it explains why having a common enemy is such a good, I don't know, let me make it really local, really kind of small. Like when two people start bad-mouthing a common person they know, that's like one of the bigger bonding moments. Like,
totally
what about
true.
so-and-so? Oh, man, I hate how that guy does this and that. Oh, me too.
Yeah.
And the more you bag on him, man, oh, that annoying thing he does, you're just cementing a friendship right there
Yeah.
on the back of
Yeah.
some poor asshole who's not here.
Who really sucks at tying his shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate how he ties his shoes.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah.
So
There's the
anyway.
rabbit around the tree. Nobody does that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
sure. Yeah, that's...
I actually had in my notes here at the ending is that they're really just trying to make the most of a bad situation.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of in the situation somehow. You know, circumstance kind of brought them together. I don't know that anybody would have chosen to continue to do that, but it's like, here we are.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you know, the choices are gone.
Yeah, nobody is enjoying this task. It is,
Right.
yeah.
Awkward. There's a certain
Yeah.
uncomfortable awkwardness to the way, like that it had come together. I don't know.
All right, let's move on.
All right. I guess I like this one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Wow.
That was great. What an analysis. It's,
Really?
I
This one
was,
was long.
what's that?
This next one was long.
It was longer. Longer. I think it was 9 pages. Sorry, that's too long for you,
A
Steve.
lot.
You had to read
I did.
9
I
pages
had to
of
print it out.
text.
I copied and pasted.
Where did you print it out from? Was it from the Orwell Foundation?
Yeah. The links you sent. I just copied and pasted from
Let's
there.
give a shout out to the Orwell Foundation.
I'll ding them.
They are. There's all his essays are like most of them are there, and we got to make a pilgrimage up to England and go to the Orwell Foundation.
I'm in.
We'll go there. We'll do a pod at a
Yeah.
pub.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll talk to somebody from the
Not
Orwell
at a bar.
No, pub.
Yeah.
Gotta
Because we're
go
in a
to-
bar now.
A public house.
Public house.
Yeah.
Something with a name where it's like whatever the things are.
There are some
you know,
cool
like-
bars in Ireland, I would say, though. Actually, some of the cooler places they're called bars. They look a lot like pubs,
Okay.
but they're called bar. You know what the
Do they
difference
have-
is?
No.
It says bar
Oh.
on the sign
Okay.
instead of pub.
Oh.
That seems to be the main difference.
The primary difference.
Yeah.
Do they have funny names? Like they used to,
No.
like English pubs used to do like
The slaughtered lamb. Is that
Or-
the one
or
from
like
American
the
Werewolf?
pig and feather. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
that's what they put on the
Yeah.
American. I never.
Oh, that's a great movie. We should watch it. It's dystopian in a way. It's a
Oh.
horror movie. Oh, it's great. It's the best werewolf movie ever.
I guess these are more than vaguely dystopian, aren't they?
I think, well, they're Orwellian.
Hey, imagine that.
It is, so, do you want to turn to
Well, yeah, let's talk
shooting
about-
an elephant,
Yeah.
which is a little more didactic. That was the word I was looking for before. He is kind of like explicitly complaining about the problems of empire,
Yes.
particularly what it does to the empiricist. No, that's not the right word for it. The
Imperialist.
the imperialist, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
the
that's him.
The Darth Vader, the white
Yeah,
man in this
yeah.
case.
Yeah.
And in those days, they would say the white man. And there were like poems, their famous poem by Rudyard Kipling called The White Man's Burden. You read it today, and you think, oh, no, it's a joke. He's like joking.
But he
And
was
he's being
serious.
ironic. He's making a comment on the white. Oh, no, it was just straight up. The white man needs to solve the problems of
Oh.
the brown man and the black man, the savage.
Yeah.
And that was the vibe when Orwell wrote this. And what he's saying is going into somebody else's house and
Yeah.
trying to fix all their problems is actually a pretty big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really end well for anybody.
And that's exactly what this
Yeah.
is.
So what happens? It's a
So-
narrative. It's a story.
There. Yeah. So we're in Burma again, lower Burma.
What is Burma's relationship to India?
I want to go to the Seinfeld thing. You may know it as Myanmar, but it'll always be Burma to me.
yeah.
That's anyway.
So Myanmar.
It's
is
east.
the
It's
new.
very like east. It would be like, I'm trying to think of the name of the sea, but it would be like northeast India would be bordering, and my geography is bad.
Okay. It's part of India, or it's a different country?
It is a different country.
That is next to India.
But likely all part of the British Raj, right?
Right.
It's like they kind of...
So what is the British Raj? That just is
Raj
their...
is king.
Oh, okay.
And so it's like the British kingdom that they were, they were holding power in India and in that part of the world for a long time. So everything kind of under one roof, like what they did in the Middle East so well.
There was a grocery store. There was a restaurant that was kind of a chain family restaurant.
Restaurant's like a grocery store where they make the food for you.
They cook the Well, nowadays a lot of grocery stores have a restaurant built in.
Hy-Vee.
There you go. Hy-Vee.
We have
good old Hy-Vee and
Wahlburgers.
I want to go. We should do.
Chris and I we go drink sometimes.
I was going to say, sit at the bar.
We do.
Like on Sunday.
Yeah.
And just like party down at
no,
Hy-Vee.
I haven't partied down.
Well, I mean,
I've had a couple beers, yeah. And then go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Grocery shopping buzzed is fun.
Yeah, man. It's
way more fun than doing it sober.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Especially like the middle of the night grocery stores that stay open.
Yeah.
And you go out after drinking, and you're just like, it's suddenly so amusing.
It is.
Like just getting stuff.
And it's right there. You walk in, you're in the grocery store, then you're in the restaurant/bar where
we should do an episode there.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's plenty of room.
There's tons of room.
Yeah.
The beer's cheap.
Yeah. Everything's cheap.
They have Elysian Space Dust, which we'd get pretty liquored up if we had 4 of those or 3 of those. But
well, you got to do what you got to do.
We'll take one for the team.
Yeah. And I just love how that camera is just on me. That is so.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's like I set it up. Yep.
All right.
I'm probably not even visible.
I
have to zoom out a ways to get us this close, and
it's a shame.
It makes us like sort of
can't even see your watch, man.
No,
the watch is what keeps us classy.
I have my nice watch on today.
It looks
for
nice.
No reason.
It looks good.
For a reason.
What is it?
The reason I'm dragging ass today a little. We did the daddy-daughter dance. You ever been to one of those?
No.
It's probably
I don't have a daughter.
Right. Probably. I figured I'd ask. I had to make sure.
I don't know what kind of guy you think I am, but
Well, or there's certain states you're not allowed to go within so many feet of a school. I don't know, but I went to that last night, and so I broke this out for that.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
How was the dance?
It was good. Yeah, the DJ was better this year than last year.
Did you get funky? Did you do like a waltz, or what's the deal? What's the dancing?
It's a lot of jumping and then screaming when songs you like come on, usually by Taylor Swift.
Okay,
that's how the Joneses
you had to
operate.
dance, so.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I got like a kind of a shuffle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The white man's burden.
It is the white man's burden, just like killing an elephant. Shooting an elephant is a white man's burden. So, all right. So
he's a cop.
He's a cop. Again.
This time we know about him because he's a cop in Burma, and he just starts off by going, "This job sucks."
Yeah.
It's like the worst. Everybody hates me.
Right.
Like everybody hates me. And he goes, and you know what? I hate it too, but I also hate those fuckers.
Right.
Like
he's like, and also they suck.
Oh yeah. And he's like, ask anybody who is a British official in India, and if you get them off duty, they'll tell you the same thing, that the whole empire thing, the whole project sucks, and you totally sympathize with the people that don't want you there, but you also hate those motherfuckers because they're pains in your ass.
Growing up,
that's like the first page in a way. Gets right out to what he's thinking.
And this one hit home for me. This is really funny. Maybe for me. I don't know. The rest of you.
The best way to tell a joke is to tell everybody how funny
it
is.
Yeah.
Before
it's so funny.
Yeah. The great thing about me is I've got a great sense of humor.
Yeah, and I'm amazingly funny.
Yeah.
I actually worked park security in St. Charles, Illinois, suburb of Chicago.
Security.
Yeah, I was park security, summertime,
What is the park called?
It was the St. Charles Park District, but the big one was Potawatomi Park. And in said park, there was what we used to call Potlot.
Did you have a gun?
No.
Did you have a taser?
No.
A baton?
Nope. I had no weapon. I had a giant walkie-talkie.
No?
I had to wear jeans.
Yeah.
And it was a polo shirt that said Park Patrol on it.
All right. You got no respect, I'm sure, from the teenagers that were drinking.
And I was one of them, and I fucking hated them. And they were down in Potlot, down in the parking lot. They would all be out there drinking, and I'd be like, I knew them. Be like, guys, I'm off at midnight, and nobody comes in. You guys could just come back.
Yeah, but not right now.
Not right now. And no, they wouldn't do that.
Wow.
And instead made my life suck.
Respect. You got no respect.
So it was just like this, really. Except so I didn't have to shoot an elephant.
He gets no respect. And the story is somebody tells him, hey, there's this like elephant kind of got loose, and it's like destroying people's houses and, messing things up. It knocks over a trash truck and starts like stomping the trash truck.
Yep.
So it's a tame elephant, which is essentially it's like a expensive piece of equipment. Like they use it as the whole animal cruelty part of this is not really dealt with much.
No.
It's just an expensive, like a earth mover or something.
Yeah, it's a nice truck.
Yeah. And but this is a nice truck that kind of went rogue.
Well, and they said it was suffering from what?
Must. It's when it gets horny. It's its horny period, so it just goes kind of temporarily crazy. It gets all wild.
So it's like the rut that's going on probably right now with all of the deer.
This is when you're going to hit a deer, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You just jinxed me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
A deer jumped out in front of me recently, and I
was driving the other day and approaching kind of a dark intersection, and people were driving kind of funny around. And I was like, what is going? And then right in front of me is a giant buck on the ground, like freshly dead, right in front of the car. Stood on the brakes, went around it. Fortunately,
some other car hit it.
Somebody else had hit it.
And then just kept driving.
I guess. Didn't even stop to go process it.
Seems like it smashes the shit out of your car,
right?
Right?
Total car.
Yeah.
Imagine what an elephant would do. You like how I brought that back?
Yeah, you hit the elephant. The elephant doesn't even move.
No.
So the elephant's going crazy. It has caused a bunch of property damage. It injured somebody. It did some other stuff.
Yeah.
And so Orwell is asked, all these people that hate him say, oh, yeah, you have to deal with this.
You got to deal with it.
Because you're in charge.
Right.
That's the whole situation.
They don't want to do it.
Nobody wants you there.
Right.
But you're in charge.
Right.
So go ahead and do it. And he's like, all right.
He's asking people, and just as things are out east, that you get a very specific story, and then as you get closer to the actual, occurrence of, like, finding out more details, the story gets more and more vague. As you should be getting closer, you're actually getting further from the truth, right? And so he's asking people, have you seen an elephant? No elephant. Not really sure what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then,
but others said, oh, yeah, I did see it.
Yeah.
And it's like rumors.
Right.
And he's about to leave.
He is.
He's like, oh, fuck this.
And then somebody's kind of losing their minds that, oh, hey, the elephant just knocked over my house.
Yeah.
And, it killed somebody.
No. What happens is an old woman comes running out, and she goes, kids, get out of the way. And all these naked little kids start.
Right.
She's like shooing them away. Because around the corner, it's like she doesn't want him to see what she saw. And Orwell goes around the corner, and there's a dead guy. In the mud.
Yeah.
And it's the way that he writes is just very technically detailed.
What did the elephant do to his back? Because he got
skinned him.
Skinned his back.
Skinned his back. He grabbed him with his trunk, threw him onto the ground, and then stomped him.
Yep.
And he went dragged his face through the mud and skinned all the skin off his back from his foot.
And
then the guy's face was like this scream, And he goes, people talk about how peaceful the dead look. I've seen a lot of dead bodies, and they all look like
demonic.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's a good line.
It is, and it's unendurable suffering is what is on his face. So Orwell kind of goes there with the description. And so now he's like, okay. So he goes, get me an elephant gun.
Yeah.
Somebody brings him an elephant gun.
Well, they get him a gun.
He has a gun.
Okay.
He has like a little...
Like a 44.
He has a 44.
Yeah. That's not going to be enough.
But he says the guy's got to bring him an elephant gun. And then he starts walking toward the elephant, and they see it, and it's just like...
It's hanging
totally
out.
Mellow now. It's just eating grass.
Banging the grass against the knees to clean the grass before it eats it.
It pulls the grass up and then bangs it against its knees to get the dirt off.
Yep.
And then eats it.
It's not an animal.
And, and Orwell's like, he had no intention of shooting the elephant. He just needed the gun in case it charged him.
Except that now we got a crowd.
How
many people?
A couple thousand. So a few start watching him, and they just want to see what he's going to do. They hate the white guy, but now he's got a gun, and he's going toward the elephant.
Right.
And now it's 2,000 people.
It's a lot of people.
All of whom hate you.
Right.
And they're all following him and talking.
I guess I would have gone with they were indifferent towards him. That's why I was going with indifference earlier.
Maybe.
He cared in this one a lot. But I felt like they were sort of indifferent. But
about what he did.
About what he did. But they also wanted to pester him.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They didn't care that.
You got to do something.
Yeah. Do something. And him walking up there to kill it, he was just going to go, it's fine. It's mellowed out.
Yeah.
But he couldn't just the white guy who's in charge.
Right.
Cannot, after this elephant has gone, killed a person, destroyed some houses and cars or whatever. I'm going to walk up to it and then turn around and just go home. I can't do that.
Right.
They'll laugh at me.
Right.
There's this line.
He was annoyed earlier that people would laugh at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said that's like the great fear of every white man in India is that people will laugh at him.
I don't want people laughing at me, so I definitely sympathized. I was like, no, I get it. Like doing something so that you're avoiding getting laughed at. It's called peer pressure. I've been there before. Oh, you're going to find it? Maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to find the line. Okay. I think it's pretty good. And my whole life, every white man's life in the East was one long struggle not to be laughed at.
Not to be laughed at. I think that still is the same. Yeah. Right?
Unless you want people to laugh. Well, I guess they're not. They're laughing with you, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
They laugh with us.
Yeah.
I hope. They probably laugh at you.
Laughing. That's why you put the camera on me, right?
True. Here's the line. It was an immense crowd. 2,000 at the least.
At the least. Wow.
And growing every minute. It blocked the road for a long distance on either side. I looked at the sea of yellow faces above the garish clothes, faces all happy and excited over this bit of fun. And one of the things that kind of jumped out at me was the garish clothes. So by comparison to what people wear for clothes in India, we dress super plain.
Yeah.
In particular, like you look at the colors and the other things, and I was like, okay, that's kind of like exactly. Oh, you're doing. See, now people are going to have to watch that.
I was trying to do the Indian dance that you see on the Bollywood movies, but I don't really know how to do it.
No, I know. That's what made it so great.
It was more weird, I think, than evocative.
Really, we're pushing the YouTube on this episode because it's all you. It's focused on you. Now you just got weird. It only took us 40 minutes to get.
It's been longer than 40 minutes.
Has it?
According to the recording.
Oh, I don't want to know. It's better that I don't know. Because we got to get to the end of this, and I don't like... This one was hard. The ending.
The ending was hard.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Let's... Okay. Garish clothes.
Getting laughed at.
2,000 at least. Watching him.
That's a pretty big crowd.
And then he's just like...
I've seen smaller
what
crowds
he
at
should
the baseball
do,
game
he
here.
talks to somebody. He's like, oh, it's probably fine. But if you get close to it, it might rush you. And he goes, what I should have done was obvious. I should have walked closer to it. And then if it didn't rush me, then I would know it was okay.
Right.
If it did, I would shoot it. It's like I was definitely not going to do that.
Right.
Because if I missed, it would kill me.
And he said he was a terrible shot.
And he's a bad shot. And I love the Orwell. He's actually, he's an adventurous guy and pretty fearless in a lot of ways, but he never sets himself up to be a macho
This
man.
feels totally honest. That's what I was going to tell you. I love that.
He just tells it like it is.
This was fucking scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't want that thing rushing me and stomping me into the mud.
There's some Hemingway in here for me.
Sure.
I feel like, except that Hemingway was a lot more macho about the like going into war and the other stuff, but then it was like, but can't have a girlfriend.
Orwell would have been the guy in the Francis McComber movie story. Orwell would have just been, nah, I don't really want to do this. Oh, I'm fine.
You guys are going to go do what?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
I'll do something else.
Yeah. I'll have some gin and tonics here.
Yep.
I'll be all right.
Yeah. Have fun, boys.
Yep. Enjoy. And not really his game, the hunting.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So he actually is ahead of the curve in terms of people's sympathies for elephants. He's just like no, nobody cares about it, but he's like, I don't know, it just seems to me that the bigger the animal, the kind of the less I want to kill it. And
is this sort of a different take on a hunting narrative in general? I mean,
maybe
he's going on the hunt for the elephant.
Yeah,
it's this big scary thing, and he is terrified, but he has to do it. He's forced into it.
The way it's knocking the grass against its knees, he said it's like a grandmotherly way that elephants have.
Yeah,
and he just like sees this creature as being a creature that, he doesn't want to kill it. That's how it goes down to it for all kinds of reasons.
One of the big reasons was, it was worth a lot more alive than it was dead.
Oh, yeah. It's worth 50 whatever.
Yeah, 50 rupees.
50 rupees for its tusks.
Yep.
But
500 if it was alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but he's finally just like, everybody's looking at him. And so it's like, what are you going to do? So he just like...
He lays down on the road.
Yeah.
And...
He doesn't know how to kill the thing because he knows now while he's riding it. You have to shoot it from ear to ear.
Yeah.
That's where their brains are.
Right.
But he shot several inches to the front.
Right.
Because he thought their brains would be up there, but it wasn't. So he shoots it.
Yeah.
And he just says it's kind of like this awful thing.
Yeah.
Like...
He slowly goes down after a couple more shots.
And he just all of a sudden looks like incredibly old and senile. Like,
yes.
Like it's just it tenses up, and I don't know. It's a sad kind of.
He looked suddenly stricken, shrunken, immensely old, as though the frightful impact of the bullet had paralyzed him without knocking him down. And then skipping a few ... An enormous senility seemed to have settled upon him. One could have imagined him thousands of years old.
Yeah,
it was real.
Yeah,
he
feels bad.
Feels horrible.
And he shoots it another time, and then another time,
and he continues to shoot it.
And then he runs out of the elephant bullets, so he's trying to shoot it with his little gun,
which is still a 44 is
44, big. Yeah, into its throat. And tries to shoot its heart, and blood is coming out, but it just won't die. Yep. And then he's just like leaves, and the
tortured gasp continued as steadily as the ticking of a clock, and that's when he's like, in the end, I couldn't stand it any longer, and went away.
Yeah,
I heard later it took him a half an hour to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my...
Wow. Kelly Soulless Daniels, everybody. I'm glad the camera's
Let's turn off the camera for... no, that's my tribute to the elephant.
You didn't name him? Oh, God.
I didn't. No, I didn't come up with a name with the elephant, but he probably had one. Maybe he didn't.
We're canceled again.
Yeah, but because I did a really good elephant.
I mean, I thought there was an elephant in here. Yeah. I thought maybe you had like a sound effect on one of the 4 spots that we have on our board. Yeah. I thought maybe you had like tricked me. You were checking the time earlier.
Don't you have a solid ivory watch? Isn't that one of your watches is made from elephant tusk?
That's not legal, and I don't think the lower 48.
Come on, man.
I don't.
Like buying a watch with a.
Well, I don't know.
With a.
I have no idea.
Well.
So I guess the answer is no. I don't.
Too bad. That would have been a good thing to wear.
I know. No.
Yeah.
This isn't that cool. Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to bring the attention. So that was
so I guess really the hook was, and we should go back and re-record all of this. That I changed my mind, and I did kind of like these.
Ah, look at that!
Yep.
You did like it.
Yep.
You bought the propaganda.
I was a little distracted today.
You know what you were? You were educated.
I was.
I'm glad that.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Sure. What do I owe you for this session?
You can buy the beer.
I will.
All right.
You bought the last couple.
Well, all right.
Groovy.
Cool.
Feels
Cheers,
like
man.
Cheers it is.
Until next time, we'll catch you all later.
We'll have to figure out what that's going to be.
Yeah.
We won't record that meeting right now.